everyone. Sorry for the lateness. Here in Colorado, we are hitting record highs. We never get over, like way over 100 like we are today, and that's causing some weird fluctuations. So hopefully, hopefully everything's up and good. Okay. um, hello, Loretta. Hope everybody's doing well and enjoying the Cricut Joy Summit. I'm Miss Carrie of Miss Carrie's Creations. My class today was on doing HTV. Hi, Kelly. So we did the HTV coasters. So they were little cork coasters, and I just taught you some very basic iron-on techniques. You should have gotten a free SVG. That's the little hibiscus flower and leaves. And then in Cricut Design Space, I kind of walked you through, we talked about templates and how templates work, because I know that, I know with scrapbooking, I use a lot of templates. And when you make home decor pieces like signs and that kind of thing, it's nice to have a template. All right, so we talked about 3 ways you can make templates, and then I showed you how to do that. Oh, it's only 86 where you are. Well, good. I'm glad, Loretta. Yeah, it is warm here. 90s in Illinois. Hey, Renee. You guys are all like 90s. That's good. Yeah. I'm like looking at everybody saying, woohoo, stay. Yeah, Sarah said, stay cool. Luckily, one of our sons has a HVAC business, so he keeps his mother happy. But anyway, so I talked about the different templates, and then I showed you how to design your little coasters with or without leaves. And I walked you through the whole process of ironing on cork, because cork is one of those things that I guess is kind of not in your normal realm of iron on. So we just kind of talked about that. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I had a free download that was an iron-on guide, like different temperatures that you use. And I did add some things on there like cork and ribbon and wood. I have done iron-on wood. On my YouTube channel, I have a fall sign where I showed how to do iron-on wood. For our daughter's wedding, I did iron-on a metal sign. So there's a lot of things that you guys can do with iron-on. So if you have any questions about that guide or the, any type of thing, let me know. So Loretta asked, do you find these particular coasters are absorbent with the HTV? That is a great question, because that is why I designed them the way I did. So I'm going to hold up one here. Let me try to get it on the camera. You can see that I made sure that the, try not to get too much glare there. I made sure that the design didn't take up the whole coaster. You are going to see where some people's cork designs on cork coasters, they like do a circle around the edge, or they do like the whole, coaster. So I did make sure that there's plenty of space in here to absorb it. You also have it where you can flip it over. Okay, so this can be like your decorative side that you have out on your table. And then when if you have, high humidity where you live, or a really, drippy cup, then you could flip it over. But I would just say, if you are making a design on a coaster, make sure you do have some space where it can get in there. And that's also why I used HTV, because I have tried to do this with adhesive vinyl in the past. And even with like outdoor adhesive vinyl, it lasts pretty well. But if you are constantly doing like hot cups, cold cups, lots of water, it does start to kind of peel up a little bit. So that's why the iron-on works better. Did you seal the bottom with Mod Podge? I did not seal it. I talked in my video that some people because I always research, what have other people made. Some people did recommend that you put a spray sealer over it. Some people recommended Mod Podge, or what's the other one? Maker's Magic is similar to Mod Podge. But I didn't, and I have not had any issues with it peeling up. So I did not seal it. Yeah, that was my thought too, Loretta. My fear was that the Mod Podge would prevent it from absorbing, the water that you're trying to avoid getting on your table. Um, so, some people did say that they did seal it over the HTV, and then what they do is they just use the backside. But I didn't seal them. We've been using these and they're fine. I haven't had any issues with them. So, I mean, I think that's kind of too. I mean, I kind of just touched the surface of it in the video that you can seal them, but I haven't, because I did not have. I mean, yeah, I agree with Loretta. I was worried that it would, prevent it from absorbing. So I've just left it as is. I mean, I can like sit here and bend it and none of it pops up or anything. So, I mean, it's been fine. Loretta asked if I'm in a humid environment. I am not. We live in Colorado, where it is drier than, cornflakes. So I have not tested them in a humid environment. Joyce, you're not too late. We're just talking. So she got lost making a birthday card. How fun. So yeah, so I did not seal. And I always tell people to do like one tester project. If in your environment you need, to seal it, then you might need to seal it. But maybe you don't. I didn't have any issues with it. But like I said, I'm trying to think what else. I talked about like the HTV, and there's a lot of iron-on tricks like I taught in that video. I don't know if you guys, how many of you have like used iron-on? I'm trying to figure out like how many of you have done iron-on in the past, and if you've had any like problems with it. Because I will tell you, the first time that I used iron-on, I was so confused by like the whole carrier sheet thing, and the pre-press versus the post-press versus the warm cool versus the that kind of thing. So I'd love to know like how many of you have used HTV in the past, and like what issues you've had. Hey, Elena, I'm glad you got on. You've been busy. Joyce, iron-on cardstock. That is super fun. I like using iron-on cardstock too, especially when you have like Brandy showed, where you have the really, really thin sentiments. It turns out super cute. 102 in Washington. Whew. Yeah, we've got high temperatures too. It is hot. But I'm trying to think of like some common problems I've had. I mean, I talked about in my video, overheating is usually my big problem. Like, I think I need to hold it down just a little bit longer because I'm not sure I pressed it long enough. Loretta, yes, the Cricut heat guide is very helpful, but you do need to read all the directions. Yes. Oh, there's a question. What is my least favorite craft technique? So, I was trying to think about this. I would say I struggle with tedious tasks. Like the other day I had to have like 50 little gears cut out on my die cut machine. And I just was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And so those are tasks that my husband helps me out with. Or like when I have to cut out a ton of flowers and peel all the pieces off of the Cricut mat. I struggle with like the tedious tasks. So I often hand those things to my husband. He's really great at being like, oh yeah, I'll sit and watch TV and I'll cut out a million flowers for you. I'll peel those all off the Cricut mats. I used to make scrapbook kits and sell them. And so I was like, oh, they were all Cricut cuts, and he would sit and peel them for me. So tedious tasks. Yeah. Yes, Loretta, overheating. Overheating is always my issue. Um, so I agree with you that the Cricut heat guide is very helpful. Um, but I mean, the reason I also created that worksheet is because the Cricut heat guide doesn't always have like some of those unusual things. Um, that we don't all iron on. I mean, like that kind of thing and stuff. Like the wood. I think they did add wood to one of them, but because I've done sublimation on wood and iron on wood and vinyl on wood, but um, wood, metal, the cork, some of those things are kind of like the rarities that I think people have to like test out and see what works. I agree. The mini press is more forgiving, especially when you've got little projects or the things like the oddities, like the wood and the metal and that kind of thing. I do like my mini press. What is sublimation? Great question, Anne. So sublimation is when in the Cricut realm, it's called. My mind just went blank. Um, my mind just went blank. In the Cricut realm, it's called infusible ink. Thank you, Elena. The train left the station. So in the Cricut world, it's called infusible ink. In other terms, it's called sublimation. And what happens is it's a dry ink or a dry print. And what the heat does is when you apply heat to it, it causes a reaction that infuses the coloring onto a project. So you usually have to use special blanks for it. But it actually ends up looking more like a screen print on a t-shirt, and that kind of thing. So it actually kind of infuses that ink in there, unlike HTV, which sits on the surface. It's actually infused into your project. I hope that makes sense. Infusible ink. Yeah, thanks, guys. But I was like trying to think, what is it called in the Cricut world? They call it something different, but it's infusible ink and it's sublimation. So Cricut, I think, is the only one that uses the word infusible ink. And so they like do infusible ink blanks, infusible ink sheets. But in all other craft terms, you'll hear the word sublimation, and it's the same thing. Have you tried infusible ink on the cork coasters? I have not done that yet. That was something I wanted to try to get done before my live, but I do know that you can do infusible ink on the cork coasters. I have seen it done by other people. I do know that there are some little tips and tricks that you have to do because some of the cork blanks you had to read how high of temperature they could handle. And you wanted to look more at the ones that were the ones that were designed for trivets that could go over 400 degrees. A lot of sublimation requires about 380 to 425 in heat temperatures in order to create that reaction. And there were some cork coasters that I read in the instructions that they did not handle that high heat. So that would be the only thing that if you want to experiment with doing infusible ink on a cork coaster, make sure you look at the heat rating. Because like I said, some of those did not go that high. Ones that were designed for trivets, like that you would put a hot pan on, those ones said that they went to those higher temperatures. Okay. We'll hang around and I can try it now. If I had all of my stuff out, I'd give it a shot. That might be something I have to put up on my YouTube channel, right? I do put Cricut stuff up on my YouTube channel. My primary craft is paper crafting, so I show a lot of people how to use their Cricut for paper crafts like their scrapbooking and card making. But I also do what's called 5-minute Cricut classes where I show people just like one technique in 5 minutes, like how do you add a score line? How do you set your materials? How do you do a custom material? How do you store your projects? They're just little 5-minute classes. Yeah, doing a cork trivet, that's one that I've, like, wanted to try too. Do you like to watch TV, listen to music, or have quiet while creating? Mm. So normally I listen to music. I usually have music blasting in my office. My husband last July started working from home. Um, so I can't play my music. He does more Zoom meetings and that kind of thing, and so I can't play my music as much. Um, so normally I end up having just quiet. So, but I do prefer music. Sometimes I'll just pop in an earbud and listen to music. Let's see. You've had a new Cricut for 3 years and haven't touched it, and you're not alone, okay? There are a lot of people that I have met. I used to teach weekend Cricut retreats, and many, many times people would bring the Cricut still in the box. So you're not alone. I do wanna challenge you, though. After this event, I want you to take it out and do the setup, okay? I want you to let me know that you've at least done the setup, okay? Do I have YouTube for beginners? I do. I do. So, like I said, those 5-minute Cricut classes are very basic beginner. Like I said, I'm one, my poor ADHD doesn't handle long videos. And sometimes it's like, all I want to learn is one technique. Just show me how to put a score line on a card. That's all I want to know. And so that's why I created those 5-minute classes, because they are just like one thing. This is all we're learning. And so, yeah, those are great beginner ones. Let's see. Question to the group. Oh, yeah. How do you like to craft? I'm like reading sometimes a ball game. Yeah. Music. Music. A lot of you do music. And it is out and set up. Okay. So are you going to try some projects? I hope you try some projects after this event. Yes, my 5-minute classes are on YouTube. So I do have a playlist on my YouTube channel. It's Miss Carrie's Creations. And it's just I have a playlist that's all my Cricut classes, so paper crafting, signs, and all of that. And then I have a separate playlist that is my 5-minute Cricut classes. Yep, and Erin is pulling it up for me. She's so wonderful. I love her. Um, so yeah, I do have a playlist that is my 5-minute Cricut classes, and it just shows you the how to right there. Yes. So yes, the 5-minute lessons, like I said, it's like a one thing that you just needed to learn, and all I wanted to know was that one thing. Some of you listen to podcasts too. That's neat. I'm trying to like go through. Yeah, after I'm glad you found my YouTube. Awesome. Yeah, the 5-minute lessons, like I said, I love people who do an entire project, and I do entire project videos. I do them too. But sometimes I'm just searching YouTube for like that one thing. Can you please just show me how do how do I change an SVG design? How do I, change a material setting? How do I, like I said, add a score line? How do pens work? Sometimes it's like, I just want to know that one thing. I don't want to make a project. I just need to know how to make it work. And that's why I started those 5-minute classes, because yeah, I think all of us are in that boat where, yeah, sometimes we want to see the whole project, but sometimes we just want to learn the one thing. Oh, yes, a YouTube junkie. Yeah, please check it out. I would love for you to let me know what you think. And I always like reading people's comments, like things that they learned. That always inspires me to make more videos when people are like, oh, I love that you did that. And that was helpful. Or could you, I always like questions too. Could you please, add this? Yeah, a lot of you listen to podcasts. I need to find some new podcasts. That's something that's on my list. So I'm gonna try to. We talked about overheating. I'm just gonna go over real quick other problems. If you guys have any other problems with HTV, because we're kind of getting to where like our 10-minute mark. I know overheating's a problem. Do any of you ever have trouble like weeding? I know weeding is sometimes a problem. Just because the older I get, my eyesight is really bad. um, bubbling. Have I ever gotten bubbling with HTV? Um, I don't know that I've ever had issues with bubbling. I mean, I've overheated it and then you get like that dull and you like ruin the adhesive, but I've never had it bubble. Um, I have seen though, like where if you do have it like bubble up a little bit, just use like your little pinprick. I've had bubbling with adhesive vinyl. And then I just use like a little like sewing needle and just pop the bubble and then flatten it. Um, but weeding was another thing I was talking about. I've started using, if you're in the card making world and you have an anti-static powder bag, I've started brushing that anti-static powder bag over the top of my HTV and I can see all of the lines where I need to weed. Trying to think what else. Oh, Joyce, thank you. Joyce says she enjoys my sketches. So I once a month, or well, every Friday or Saturday, I send out a newsletter to everyone who's on my email list, and I create monthly sketches. So I have a scrapbook sketch and a card making sketch. So I send out 2 sketches, and those are free for you guys to use. That's just part of being part of my newsletter. So if you're one who likes sketches like Joyce, and you're signed up for my newsletter, you'll get that every Friday. And it's just a free download that you can then just pop in a notebook and use those sketches. I put all the measurements and everything there for you. Yeah. Okay, let's see what Melinda says. Melinda says, I have overheated my HTV and didn't realize that was the problem. Thank you for addressing that. How do you know if it's the amount of heat or the time? That's a good question. So normally I do refer to just the Cricut heat guide. But you know, that's kind of designed for Cricut vinyl. You can kind of evaluate it versus the Caesar and the different ones. It's all kind of basically the same. I've noticed that if I overheat it, if the temperature is too high, you actually destroy the adhesive and you can like see it like ooze out on the edges. And that's usually a sign that you've overheated it. And like you start to lose the adhesive underneath. And then usually time, I mean, that kind of does about the same thing. So I usually stick, if like there's a rate, like a length of time, I usually kind of go with the lowest time. And then you can see as you pull your carrier sheet that it just didn't stick. And then you just do it for a little bit longer. Yeah, Caesar has a heat guide too. I do know that. I'm interested in using HTV on non-woven reusable grocery bags, and they're made of nylon. Yes, that is possible. So that downloadable heat guide that I posted, there is a place for nylon. I did list nylon in there, and you can use HTV on nylon. There are some very specific heat settings because nylon does melt a lot easier. But I did add that to my downloadable guide because you can iron on nylon. Yes, you just end up using like a lower heat setting. And the time is just a little bit longer. So I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. You're welcome. You're welcome. And if you have any questions, I don't mind receiving emails from people. I get emails occasionally where people ask a quick Cricut question, or through my Facebook page, you can send me a message on Messenger. If you're like stuck on a Cricut project, I do not mind answering those questions at all, really. So I think we're getting close to the end. So I want to make sure I'm like trying to go through, make sure I didn't miss anybody. But like I said, I hope you guys really, really enjoy the project. I hope that you guys learned something from that. I mean, even if you don't make the cork coasters, I hope that you were able to learn how to make templates, how to use HTV, some tips and tricks. I really hope that you learn that. And then to make sure that you grab that guide. That guide is available. If you don't have the VIP pass, it's available for the next 24 hours. And then if you do have the VIP pass, it is available, I think through October, if I remember right, is how long that site's up. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Yes, you are welcome. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I didn't. You're welcome. Like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have questions about the project, feel free to post those in the group. I know Elena put up a little thing that said like meet Miss Carrie and the project. And a lot of people are putting their comments right in there. So I feel free to ask those. I'm glad you guys learned something. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And if you want to follow more of my crafting, it's Miss Carrie's Creations. I have a website, YouTube, TikTok. I'm just kind of out there all over the place. And thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Loretta. Thank you, Melinda. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna make sure that I'm like making sure I didn't miss questions. I always worry I miss people's questions. Oh, I'm trying to think. Yeah. What else? Was there anything else I missed? I always worry that I miss something because my brain goes like 90 miles an hour. Oh, I'm trying to. Yeah, Melinda said hers oozed out with the overheating. That's a wrap. Thank you. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend and try to stay cool if it's hot where you're at. We'll talk to you guys soon.